What's up, everybody? Welcome back. We are getting into Gallente exploration fits. So, a couple administrative things. Check out the Errant Gamer podcast, which is a gaming podcast I host on a weekly basis. And that's it. Let's just jump right into it. So, I'm going through sort of a deep dive into exploration ship fitting for each of the different factions. So, we've already done the Caldari and the Amar. We're getting into Gallente here. And Gallente are stereotypically drone-focused, and it's worth noting that all of the other exploration ships allow some drones on the Tech 1 ship, but the Gallente ship allows for one more. So previously, they allow for 3, the Gallente ship allows for 4, and can store up to 8. So just something to point out. Now, like all of the other ships, there's pretty much a standard fit, right? And so you've got your core probe launcher with 16 core scanner probes. You've got your micro warp drive, which if you watched the tutorial is mentioned there. I grabbed the YT8 version because it's a little bit better on the resources. You don't have to do that. You can pick, just a regular Tech 1 version, just like we did with the Relic Analyzer and the Data Analyzer. Mid slots, now you can use either a cargo scanner, which I find useful, or a scan range finding array. So this allows you to look in a canister and see if there's literally a lump of coal in there, which you don't want to waste a whole lot of time opening that up and just to get a lump of coal. So if you're in a rush, it allows you to know what you're getting into as you're flying towards a can. It's good exploration practice too. If it does have coal in it, just open it up and fail it, open it up and fail it twice so that it blows up the can, and the whole site will reload once you've finished with the other sites. So these are the standards along here. Basic, cheapest version. Now I grabbed nanofiber internal structures, which we can see here adds a little bit of speed, remove some of our inertia, making us align faster. We want to get this down as close as we can to 2.0 seconds. Anything that is trying to target you won't be able to target you in under 2 seconds. So if you try to warp and something tries to target you, no matter what they've got on their ship, I'm sure that there are exceptions to this, but no matter what they have on their ship, the general rule is anything at 2 seconds or under, you're going to get into warp before they can target you. So I prefer nanofiber internal structures. If you prefer to have just slightly faster align time, you can get into, let me uncheck that. Well, we can use inertial stabilizers instead, which you can see have a little bit better inertial modifier, but their downside is that they increase your signature radius, which means that things will be able to target you faster, especially as bigger ships, than they would otherwise. So the trade-off, so 4.92, we'll remove these, and we'll just drag some of these on here, becomes 4.43. So we pick up about half a second, but we increase our signature radius by 30% or thereabouts or more. So I don't like that trade-off. I would rather just fly a little bit faster and take nanofiber internal structures. And then the trade-off that you make here is that your structural hit points is lower. Now, you're not in a combat ship. You shouldn't be in combat at all. And if anything is hitting your structure, you're dead anyway. So, there's no real point to try to cling to structure hit points on this ship. So I prefer the nanofiber internal structures. So that's what you'll see on my ship fits. But this is the Imicus, and this is just like the most basic fitting that you can have. You want to look at a ship and realize that your exploration ships are going to get destroyed. People are going to find you, they're going to kill you, and how big your loss is really only dependent upon how much you've invested in the ship. So for this, you can buy this one until the cows come home at 914K each, and that includes all of the components. As we move to a more expensive hull and the Tech 2 ship, we get into more expensive components and something else worth considering. So we'll load this up. On this ship, I've got rigs installed and a cloaking device. So let's start with the cloaking device. I've got a Tech 2 Covert Ops cloaking device. This is only really usable on covert ops ships. So it's a very nice component, but it's not the be-all end-all. If you really want stealth or cloaking capabilities, you can have it on the Imicus, but you have to use something called a prototype cloaking device. Now the difference, they're both expensive, but the difference is the prototype cloaking device allows you to move around normally while in cloak, but you can't enter warp or be in warp while cloaked. So if something's trying to scan you down, or if you're in an area with somebody and you're trying to escape, if you're already cloaked, that's great, and you can align yourself and then drop cloak, wait a couple seconds while the cloak thing cycles, and then you can enter warp and get out. But if you have a covert ops cloak and you're cloaked up and you need to escape, you can just warp to wherever you want to warp. Nothing will see you. Nothing will be the wiser that you were there, and it's fine. So something to keep in mind, though, is that if you go within, or anything or anyone flies within 2,500 meters of you, regardless of what cloak you have, your cloaking will drop and you'll be able to be targeted. So the Tech 2, or the covert ops ship for Gallente, is the Helios, and we've got it listed here. This is worth throwing in. It's, I think, 5 million ISK. We can look here. Covert op, yep, about 5 million ISK. So if you want to increase your scan strength, there's some ways to do it. One is to buy gravity capacitor upgrade rigs. So you can fit 2 of these small versions on there, and that each one adds 10% scan strength, which is nice. Another way is to spend a lot of money on a Sisters Core Probe Launcher. That's an upgrade from the regular Core Probe Launcher 1 that you had before. And you can see that it adds a 10% scan bonus right there. But the trade-off is this Sisters Core Probe Launcher is pretty expensive. By itself, it's 32 million. That's generous. You're going to be lucky to find it for less than like 38 to 40 million. So right off the bat, that'll just jack the price of your overall fit up by quite a bit. So that one component, 32 million, is half the value of everything we've got on here. It's worth pointing out also that on this covert ops ship, unlike any of the other covert ops ships, you have the ability to carry one drone. Because you're Gallente and you like drones, I don't know if you felt like you would be lonely without them, but they give you the ability to store one and to have one out. And these are light drones. I don't know that that's going to be doing you a lot of good, but it might be worth looking into like e-warfare drones to kind of prevent somebody from targeting you as a last line of defense while you try to get the hell out of there. So we still have this YT8 compact micro warp drive, because as you can see, we're starting to get up on the limit of what we can do with the power grid. We've got Tech 2 relic analyzer and data analyzer. These are very much worth it if you can skill into it and use them. It takes quite a bit of skilling, but very much worth using and getting to the point where you can do that. I use the same cargo scanner because really 55 kilometers is close enough for me. And then I threw a Type 2 Tech 2 scan range finding array on here as well. And that too increases your scan strength. So in addition to all of these things, if you don't want to drop money on the Sisters Core Probe Launcher, another way to increase... Oh, I guess I forgot to add that. Another way to increase your scan strength and your overall scanning ability is to pick up Sisters Core Scanner Probes. Now, again, you're going to want 16 total. They sell for about 500K each. So just by using those, that adds about 8 million to your total. So if you want to use Sisters Core Probe Launchers and scanner probes, you're looking at 40 to 48 million additional in cost. But some people think they're worth it. I don't think the launcher is worth it, but I have previously anyway, thought that the probes themselves are worth the money. So that's it really. So there's all kinds of ways to upgrade it. You can put rigs on here that increase your virus strength or your virus coherence, but they are targeted. So that means that you can get a rig that increases your virus strength on data sites while hacking, but it has no effect on your relic sites and archaeology. So you could get one that's for archaeology if you want to do that and have like half and half, but it just, yeah. It's a bit of a trade-off. Most people focus on their scan strength as opposed to their hacking or whatever skills, because a lot of that is actual personal skill base, and people feel like they can just be pretty good at it and not need the additional bump from these rigs. Whereas scanning, if you can scan something down faster, the faster you do these things, the faster you can get in and out, and the less prone to death you will be. So this is the Helios. We had the Imicus. They're the same looking ship, just like all the other sort of Tech 1 and Tech 2 exploration ships, with a couple differences. We got 3 lows, 5 mids, and 2 highs, and the ability to carry a drone. So yeah, that wraps us up for the Gallente. So thanks for watching. We'll get into the Minmatar next, and it's going to look very similar to what we've got here. A lot of the same information, but yeah, that's what we're doing. So thank you again for the suggestion to DG Rage Riot and Victor Korea. Victor, I'll get to your mining and industry related questions and videos after the exploration one here. I too need to learn a little bit more about it. I've done some mining, and I can talk to you a little bit about sort of how I set up my own bookmarks for that. But yeah, that's just that's coming up, and I really appreciate the input. So thanks for giving me some ideas. And if there's anything you want to learn, regardless of who you are or anything you want to see, let me know, and I'll take a note, and we'll get to it next. So thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next video.